The fog clung to the ground like a shroud as the 5 mercenaries stepped into the edge of Blackwood Forest. The trees loomed, tall and ancient, their gnarled branches twisting like skeletal fingers against the pale gray sky. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth and decay, and an unnatural silence hung over the forest, broken only by the occasional rustle of leaves in the wind. Captain Elias Kane, a grizzled veteran with a scar running down his left cheek, led the group. His tactical vest was loaded with magazines for his assault rifle, and a combat knife hung at his side. Beside him was Lyra, a sharp-eyed sniper with a high-powered rifle slung over her shoulder and a pistol on her hip. Behind them were Garrick, a hulking brute of a man with a belt-fed machine gun. Celine, a rogue with a silenced submachine gun and a bandolier of grenades. And Thaddeus, a tech-savvy operative with a drone in his pack and a modified carbine in his hands. The mercenaries had been hired by the desperate townsfolk of Briar Glen to investigate the strange occurrences in Blackwood Forest. Over the past few months, travelers had gone missing, livestock had been found mutilated, and eerie lights had been seen flickering among the trees. The townsfolk had pleaded with the local authorities for help, but the sheriff and his deputies had refused to set foot in the forest, claiming it was cursed and beyond their jurisdiction. Frustrated and frightened, the townsfolk had pooled their resources to hire the best mercenaries they could afford. As the group ventured deeper into the forest, the atmosphere grew heavier. The trees seemed to close in around them, and the light dimmed despite it being midday. Thaddeus pulled out a tablet, its screen displaying a map of the area. According to this, there should be a clearing up ahead. The villagers mentioned a stone circle there, said it was the heart of the forest. Lyra adjusted the scope on her rifle, her eyes scanning the shadows. I don't like this place. It feels wrong. Garrick grunted in agreement, his finger resting on the trigger guard of his machine gun. Stay sharp. Whatever's out there, it's not natural. The clearing came into view, and the mercenaries paused at its edge. In the center stood a ring of moss-covered stones, their surfaces etched with strange, swirling symbols. The air around the circle shimmered faintly, as if distorted by heat. Celine crouched to examine the ground, her gloved fingers brushing against a patch of dark, dried blood. Something happened here, recently. Before anyone could respond, a low, guttural growl echoed through the trees. The mercenaries spun around, weapons at the ready. From the shadows emerged a pack of grotesque creatures, part wolf, part something far more sinister. Their eyes glowed with an unnatural light, and their muzzles dripped with saliva as they bared razor-sharp teeth. Wargs, Thaddeus muttered, his voice tense. But these are different, twisted. Elias raised his rifle. Form up, don't let them flank us. The battle was fierce and chaotic. Lyra's rifle cracked as she picked off the creatures with precision shots, but the wargs seemed to shrug off the wounds. Garrick's machine gun roared, spraying bullets that tore through the beasts, yet they kept coming. Celine darted between the trees, her silenced submachine gun spitting lead as she struck from the shadows. Thaddeus launched his drone, its mounted camera feeding him real-time data as he lobbed flashbang grenades to disorient the creatures. Just as the mercenaries began to gain the upper hand, a deep, resonant voice echoed through the clearing. Enough! The wargs retreated, slinking back into the shadows. From the stone circle stepped a figure, cloaked in darkness, his features obscured by a hood. His presence was suffocating, and the air grew cold around him. Who dares trespass in my domain? The figure intoned, his voice like the rumble of distant thunder. Elias stepped forward, his rifle still raised. We're here to put an end to whatever's plaguing this forest. Who are you? The figure chuckled, a sound that sent shivers down their spines. I am the Warden of Blackwood, the guardian of its secrets. You are not the first to come seeking answers, and you will not be the last. But you are different, stronger. Thaddeus narrowed his eyes. What do you want? Why are you terrorizing the people of Briar Glen? The warden's hood shifted, as if he were tilting his head. Terror? No, mortal. I am protecting them. The true danger lies not within this forest, but beyond it. The darkness that stirs in the hearts of men is far more insidious than any beast or spirit. Lyra frowned. What are you talking about? The warden raised a hand, and the air shimmered again. Images began to form, visions of war, betrayal, and corruption. The mercenaries saw the leaders of Briar Glen conspiring with a neighboring kingdom, using the forest's reputation to cover their crimes. They saw innocent lives sacrificed in the name of power and greed. The forest is a mirror, the warden said. It reflects the darkness within those who enter. The creatures you fought are born of that darkness. But you are different. You fight not for gold or glory, but for justice. Elias lowered his rifle, his expression grim. What do you want us to do? The warden's form began to dissolve, his voice fading into the wind. Expose the truth. Bring light to the shadows. Only then will the forest know peace. As the warden vanished, the clearing fell silent. The mercenaries exchanged uneasy glances, the weight of their task settling over them. Celine broke the silence. Well, that's not what I signed up for. Garrick chuckled, though there was little humor in it. When is it ever? Elias slung his rifle over his shoulder. We have our orders. Let's get to work. As they left the clearing, the forest seemed to breathe a sigh of relief. The shadows receded, and the air grew lighter. But the mercenaries knew their journey was far from over. The true battle lay ahead, and it would test not only their strength, but their resolve. For in the heart of Blackwood Forest, the line between light and darkness was razor thin, and the choices they made would determine not only their fate, but the fate of all who dwelled within its shadow.